Hey guys, how's it going, everybody? This is StormPow, and welcome to another episode of the Nimbus Cast Podcast. It's been a while, but I'm really glad to be back on the saddle and doing more Nimbus Cast. Really, podcasting is like the main reason that I came back to content creation in general. So even though I have kind of put the Nimbus Cast on the back burner, I'm really excited to be doing this again, and I hope you guys are excited for it to be back. Things will be a little bit different. If you're enjoying this on YouTube, you've probably already noticed that. Now it lives on its own separate YouTube channel, which was the Nimbus Cast Clips channel that I was using for like highlights and things like that, you know, certain little clips of the Nimbus Cast, full episodes, and kind of using that to promote the Nimbus Cast, which lived on my main channel, youtube.com/StormPow. But now I've kind of decided to flip it the other way around just because on my main channel, I've kind of taken a little bit of a different direction. Instead of being more like news-based, I kind of am doing more short-form content, more skits, more things like that. And gameplay streaming, of course, live on my YouTube channel as well. And I kind of feel like for the Nimbus Cast to go the way that I'd like it to go, it should probably live on its own channel. And then maybe the occasional clip or highlight might go on my main channel, you know, kind of as a little thing. But who knows exactly if that'll be the case. I think, though, what my goal is for the Nimbus Cast going forward, I still want to have guests on episodes occasionally for special things. Maybe at some point even getting a full-time co-host. I think that would be cool. It's just that I don't really know of anybody that would be down to do that full-time. So who knows? But we'll see. Though I really enjoy podcasting as a medium, and I want to continue to push out this, and I want to make this more of a place for me to kind of expel my thoughts long term on Dragon Ball as far as like things that are going on, be it new manga chapters, of course, when the new Dragon Ball Super movie Superhero comes out next year, things like that, new updates with the games, and just kind of a place for me to share my thoughts long form, since I don't really have a place to do that anymore on my main channel. So anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Again, just as a reminder, it's available on YouTube and every major audio podcasting platform. I can't think of any that it's not on, so be sure to check that out on the platform of your choosing. And without further ado, as you can probably tell by the title of this episode, today we're going to be talking about why I am really no longer playing Dragon Ball Legends. And a lot of this episode is going to revolve around Dragon Ball Legends specifically, but also a little bit about Dokkan and kind of Dragon Ball games in general, really. For those of you who maybe this is one of your first times listening to the podcast, we talk about Legends a lot on the Nimbus Cast in the past. And I that was kind of one of the main centerpieces of my main channel over at youtube.com/StormPow. It was doing Dragon Ball Legends content. You know, I was covering the game. For those of you who are unfamiliar with it, maybe you play other Dragon Ball games, or, you know, you're not really into mobile games at all. It's basically like the format of this game and games like it is, you know, you play the game and you get in-game currency that you can use to summon, which kind of gives you a chance at pulling a new, rare, powerful character. And then you collect these characters, you pull more copies of them in order to make them stronger, you get items and things like that, you level them up, and then you can use them in battle. And so these games update very frequently. It's under the Gacha category is what you would put it under. It's very similar to Dragon Ball Dokkan Battle. And it's kind of a form of gambling in a way because, you don't really know what the results of your summons are going to be. And also, the main thing, too, is that you can spend real-life money on these games. And in most cases, you need to do so to be successful. Dokkan is a little bit different since it's all single-player. So it's not really something that would be classified as, like, pay-to-win in the traditional sense. I mean, I guess pay-to-win could be used to describe a single-player game because, like, the single-player challenges get a lot easier when you have good items, good units, and all that, you know. So it is still winning. You're still paying to win. But generally, the term is more so used, at least in a negative connotation, with games that have a multiplayer aspect, which Dragon Ball Legends does. It's got player versus player. And so there's a very stark difference when you start playing against people that, you know, have all these really great characters, and they have pulled duplicates of them, and they are leveling them up, and it's crazy, versus you, who is maybe free to play, therefore has access to less of the in-game currency. In this case, it's chrono crystals is what it's called. And therefore your teams are well underpowered in comparison to theirs. And so anyway, that's kind of the backstory of what Dragon Ball Legends is. Now, I started playing Legends almost a year ago on the nose, or it's probably been a little bit more than a year or so. So that was about a little over 2 years into the game's lifespan. And for mobile games, they don't generally make it a lot past 5 years. I know Dokkan just celebrated their 6th anniversary, I believe, and Dragon Ball Legends recently celebrated its 3rd in May of 2021. And so it's definitely had a good run. And, like all of these types of games, they kind of tend to fizzle out after a little while. There are a lot of the major hype units have been done now. There's only a handful left of like new releases for new characters that they can make that are going to be really hype. I know a lot of people say that they may collaborate with Dragon Ball Heroes at one point, like Dokkan did, and I could see that as well. I could also see that them doing that too. But basically, I'm kind of going off on a little bit of a tangent now, but Dragon Ball Legends, I've played for, about a year, and I really liked it. It was my first real Gacha game that I got into. When I first played it, I was kind of like, I don't really get it. I don't understand. But once I kind of hit that point of like it beginning to click, I was like, okay, this is really cool. And I started to get into the game and kind of become a pretty active community member, I believe. Like I had done collabs with Indukuba, Rhymestyle, Nanogenics, and things like that, and I was becoming a little bit of I don't want to say a figure in the community because I have such a small following. I feel like that's a very generous term, but I was starting to make a little bit of a footprint in the Legends community and become a Legends content creator. My channel was going in a direction to where I would consider myself a primarily Legends content creator as opposed to Dragon Ball in general. And I didn't have a problem with that. And there is no problem with that for channels that are in that realm. But the thing is that, I had been like basically all that to say, I had made Dragon Ball Legends a pretty big focus. I had gotten that into it to where I was covering news in the game. I was like staying up late for new updates, waking up early for new reveals, making content, trying to get it pumped out and keep up with it. And it got very exhausting. Mostly just, for one, keeping up with all the news, all the new Zenkais and things like that. But what really got exhausting was the repetitive nature of that kind of content. And what I mean by that is like just the fact that all the videos that could be made felt like they were just like showcases, like every time a new unit came out, I felt like the appropriate thing to do would be to make a video about the new unit, using it in PvP, maxed out or something like that. And the time there was a new banner, you have to make a summoning video, and it just got very repetitive over and over. And I felt like there was very little room for new types of content. I tried to kind of think outside the box a little bit every now and then, like when I did the gun game challenge video, some of the challenges where I like play the game blindfolded, things like that. You summon or you lose PvP, you summon. A while back, I did a summoning video for launch where we were summoning for the new launch unit at the time, and I kind of made it a bit where I would sneeze and like turn into launch. It was kind of a fun thing to do. And like it just felt like I would have gotten more success if I had done something really bland and really unoriginal and just, instead just paid more money and maxed out the character, which I can't really afford to do. Full disclosure, I've spent a lot of money on Dragon Ball Legends, and I still don't have a very good account, which that comes with only playing the game for a year as well. But the thing was that got really, really disheartening about kind of the game in general was that I was spending good amounts of money and still oftentimes not even pulling the character, like the new legendary finish unit. And so then therefore I couldn't make a video about the new unit since I didn't pull it. I could still upload my summons whether or not I pulled it. In fact, a lot of people did say that they thought it was more entertaining when I didn't pull the desired character, which whatever, I'll take that. But it got really draining where then I'm trying to make these videos that are outside the box, like those challenging videos, and nobody really seemed interested in it. They only wanted to see the stuff of like the character maxed out, which is fair. If that's what people want to see, then that's cool. But it just kind of got to a point to where I found it very hard to make Dragon Ball Legends content. And I felt like I was having to go very clickbaity and very like, like pulling straws. I don't want to use the word desperate, but like it was getting very hard to come up with ideas to make Dragon Ball Legends content. And not only that, but I kind of saw where the community was going, and I feel like the community is like kind of, kind of, like not happy with the game, and that's fine as well too. But I didn't want that to be the cornerstone of my content. I didn't want my whole like channel's existence revolving around a mobile game that like at best will have a 6 or 7 year lifespan. When I'm trying to make YouTube as a career, and I know that there's the concept of, kind of following the community. Like generally, if Legends were to shut down, or if Dragon Ball Legends was shutting down, then there would be some other game that most people would probably go to, and I could just kind of follow that crowd and go with that. But I didn't want to like chance that with my whole potential career. You know what I mean? I feel like by the time that Dragon Ball Legends is shutting down, my channel would probably just then be doing like successful. You know what I mean? Just like timeline wise, how many more years I probably have left of putting in like, grinding on YouTube, I guess, so to speak, compared to how many more years of life Dragon Ball Legends probably realistically has in it. And so I didn't want to keep doing that. And I thought, well, I could just start doing content of other Dragon Ball games and things like that. But I kind of figured they all have that same thing where, like, really the main content in gaming is, somebody who's really good at the game. And I'm just, I'm not that good at video games. I thought maybe fighters. I really enjoy fighters. I'm not very good at it. Definitely not good enough for people to, like, want to care to watch. And it all comes with self-awareness, too. And I'm going to get into, like, the game itself, to not just the content, so don't worry. But it all comes down to self-awareness. For those of you who have been around before I started doing Dragon Ball Legends videos, I used to do like how-to videos on how to make your stream better, like content creation tips. And then I had that moment of self-awareness where I was like, you know what? There are so many people doing this and doing it better than I am. Not only better than I am doing, but they're doing it better than I ever will be able to do. And so at that point, I was like, there's no reason for me to be doing this type of content. There's nothing that I have to offer in this niche that is not already being offered better. And I know that, like, that could be said for a lot of niches, that it's really hard to break in, that YouTube in general is really oversaturated. And that's not wrong. The thing is, though, like, you can generally bring your own spin on things and it'll be good. But in this case, my own spin was not enough. So I was like, I need to do something else. I need to make different types of content, and I'm never going to be the Goresh or, the D-Free or the Nano when it comes to like Dragon Ball Legends content. I'm never going to be that good. I'm never going to be on top of the news as well as them. I don't even know that I want to be on top of the news as well as them, because just the speed and the churn rate of that news just got so exhausting trying to keep on top of things. And I'm like, there are already authorities on Dragon Ball Legends, and they can stay that way. I'm not trying to dethrone anybody, and I don't think I could, quite frankly. They make great content, all those people. So it was kind of like, why chase this carrot that I will never, ever reach, Like, I literally felt like I was, like, on a treadmill with a freaking carrot dangling in front of me, that I would never reach. And that if I did ever eventually reach, then all of a sudden that carrot would be like obsolete or whatever. Basically, like I said, if I ever did get successful as a Dragon Ball Legends YouTuber, I really feel like Dragon Ball Legends YouTube content was going to be gone by that point, or well on its way out. And it just didn't feel like a carrot worth chasing or a rat worth racing. I didn't write that out. I thought of that on the spot. So that's a freebie for you guys. And I want to talk about as well how I feel about gachas as a whole. So basically, like with gachas, I am the type of player where I don't really like care about pulling new units in games, as far as like Dokkan, for example. Never really been a guy who could get into Dokkan summoning, because to me it's just like, oh cool, you pulled a JPEG, like I could go online and get a picture of this. Like I never felt the collector aspect of gacha games that makes them fun for most people. I never really was driven by the ability to like summon all these characters and like add them to my repertoire. I was never really like satisfied by like opening up my character box and having a whole bunch of characters, or having my most favorite characters. Never really was something that motivated me. But the reason why it did in Legends was because there was PvP. Like I could summon on these banners, get these cool, prestigious, rare characters, and flaunt them online. I know that that sounds a little cocky, and it kind of is, I guess, or whatever. That was the only thing that drove me to do that, but that's just kind of how I am, which is really dumb too, because it's gonna kind of contradict with what I say in a little bit. So it's why I could never get into like Genshin Impact, for example. Genshin Impact I had a little bit of a phase with, but like most gacha games I can't get into because like I would never be driven to spend real life money to pull a character just so I could beat more like CPU or PvE events, basically. It only drove me to spend money to summon when I had the potential to play online and play it with other people. And even then, I really didn't spend a lot of money. Or I was originally like, I'm pretty open to spending money on gachas, right? I know there are a lot of people that are like, oh, that's dumb. You should never spend money on a mobile game or games in general, really. If a game is free to play, you should enjoy it. And I actually pretty strongly disagree with that, because by my logic, you spend $60-$70 on a new video game, So if I got the game for free and I enjoy it and I want to dump some money into it, like $8 here or there, kind of like with Legends, I say go for it. Even if that eventually does exceed $60-$70, which it absolutely did with me and Dragon Ball Legends. But, if you want to spend some money on the game, I say go for it. All of the power to you. That's your money. You spend it how you want. I mean, we spend money on such stupid things. Like, do you really have to go to Starbucks and get a $6 coffee? No. Do you really have to go to Taco Bell and spend like $10 on a freaking, nacho fry box and a Crunchwrap Supreme? No. Like, there are all kinds of ways to save money. And obviously, spending money to gamble in a mobile game is not a good financial decision. But there are so many things we do that are not good financial decisions. So why draw the line there? Anyway, kind of a little bit of a tangent, but all that to say, I've never had a problem with spending money in Legends. It took me a solid 6 months or so until I did, just because there was so much new content for me to play as a new player, like the story mode, that I was pulling enough crystals just by playing the game regularly and grinding pretty regularly that I didn't feel the need to purchase chrono crystals with real life money until a good while into the game, when I had kind of, absorbed all of that content. Then, obviously there's events that you can come up with to maybe get a few thousand crystals here or there. But with the rates in this game, I mean, you're doing good if you only spent like 10, 15,000 crystals to get one copy of the new featured legendary finish unit. And then at that unit's still not really usable until you get it to like 6 stars. Which, is like several more copies of that. So it's just kind of like, it became this thing where I was like, man, even if I dump a lot of money in this is ridiculous. And I know that they just implemented a pity system pretty recently. And that's a good start, I feel like. But still, it is an obscene amount of crystals that you have to pull or dump into it before you're guaranteed one copy of the unit. So it's just, to me, it became very, very disheartening in Dragon Ball Legends in general. And so all that to say, to kind of sum it up, like I said, I really only care about gachas when they have multiplayer, but with Dragon Ball Legends, I'll kind of get into why that became not enough. I'd like to take a moment to talk about not really a sponsor for today's podcast, but a company that I am working with right now, and I would like to promote some, and hopefully you guys can get something out of it. So you may have heard me tweeting about Serial, or talking about them in my YouTube community posts on my main channel, but Serial is a new tech startup company. They are a website builder that is specifically designed for content creators. So really, really cool app that I have started using. I actually was using a big company for my website building, and I recently transitioned over to Serial because I saw that their features were tailored to content creators, whereas I felt other bigger name website builders were really just like not made for content creators. And so I really like Serial because it has those types of features, like you can put your video content on there as well, the video player that is on Serial. It's hard to say. Go check out my website at stormpow.com. And then, like I said, if you want to build one of your own, go to tryserial.com/stormpow to get a whole month free of service and support my channel in doing so. It's a really, really great way because nowadays, more than ever, I know if you're a small creator, you may think you don't need a website, but I truly think that everybody does because it's a really great way for your viewers to find your content. You know, we can't really trust algorithms all the time these days. You know, sometimes notifications aren't delivered or videos don't show up in your feeds, but this website builder helps you to share your content, have it all in one place, build out a mailing list of your viewers. Also allows you to monetize your content, and you can also have a blog on there as well, which helps out a lot with search engine optimization. And so it's a very affordable tool, and I think that everybody should have a Serial site, really. But anyway, one more time, that is tryserial.com/stormpow. Link will be in the description if the platform that you're listening to supports descriptions. So how has Dragon Ball Legends been as of late? So recently, some of the things that happened, we had, of course, the 3rd anniversary around like May or so. Then they had the download celebration. You know, there's been some updates to the story mode. They actually recently did a big UI update, which I actually really like, in all honesty, the new user interface. And then they've made a couple of little tweaks here and there. They've announced certain things like the new leader system where you can have a leader of your team, and there's the ability will kind of carry over to the whole team regardless of everybody else's tags. We're still not really 100% sure how that's going to rock, so I'm curious on that. But So Dragon Ball Legends has been doing a lot of changes recently, but as far as the community goes, I feel like there's a lot of community unrest. Nobody seems to be happy with the game. And I've always felt like there's been a lot of negativity in the game, but never quite this much or this high of a percent of, I don't feel like anybody is really, really enjoying it. You know, I know that a lot of people are still playing it. People have not been driven to that point yet for the most part, but I feel like people are really, really, generally speaking, upset with Legends these days. Whereas on the flip side, Dokkan is actually doing fantastic, even though it's twice as old. You know, its player base is probably, like, I don't want to say peaking because that's definitely not true, but it is definitely on a high slope right now. It's doing really, really well, at least as far as like player satisfaction, I would say. I don't know for sure how it reflects on like downloads or active player base, but everybody seems to be really happy with Legends. I mean, with Dokkan, excuse me. Dokkan seems to be being very generous, whereas Legends is getting like more and more stingy. I know that they've revealed the Legends Pass system, and they're basically putting a lot of quality of life features behind a paywall. And I feel like that's just kind of the route Legends is going. You know, I feel like people have been complaining that it has felt very pay to win, and the developers are just adding more, like, not necessarily pay to win features, but just more monetization, which I get it. You know, you got to make money somehow. I totally get it. You know, I don't expect them to give us the game for free and not have ways of monetizing it. I mean, would I be making YouTube videos and podcasts if I wasn't trying to make a couple bucks? I mean, hell, we just had an ad spot a couple of minutes ago. So like, I'm not faulting anybody for trying to make money by any means. I totally get it. But some of the tactics do seem a little predatory, and not only that, but I mean, it's been a lot better in the past. You know, it's just seeming weird that that's the response. Like if I started throwing a bunch of ad spots in the podcast, right? You know, like if every 5 minutes I had an ad break and people started commenting and saying like, "Hey, StormPow, you know, I mean, I love your stuff, man. I really want to listen to the Nimbus Cast, but these ad breaks got to stop, bro. You've been putting way too many ad breaks in here." And then if that had been going on for a while, that was the general discourse of my podcast, and then the next episode I add more ad breaks, people would be like, "Wow, he doesn't care about us. He's literally just trying to make some fast cash." You know, and I feel like that's how it is right now with Legends. You know, people are complaining about it, and then the developers are just like adding more of what they dislike. And so with that, I kind of at one point decided to go free to play. I was like, you know what? I'm done spending money in Legends. I'm not giving them any more money at all because, you know, I was dumping like over $100 every banner and not even pulling one copy of the goddamn unit that I was trying to get. Just because I was trying to make a summoning video that, full disclosure, I would probably make like $2 on through YouTube ad revenue. You know what I mean? So like, obviously, like I went into it knowing that like I was not going to make my money back via ad revenue, but I was just like, whatever, I'm playing the long game here. I'm trying to become a successful Dragon Ball Legends YouTuber. So I got to put in the grunt work now, which was so wrong. Please don't ever make the mistake that I did. I know, like I said, it's okay to spend money on gacha games. I firmly believe. And I 100% believe in spending money to invest in your YouTube channel or your content creation, your podcast, your stream, whatever, as an investment. But do not, please do not ever spend money on a gacha game just so you can make content on it, unless you would otherwise spend that money, or unless you are going to make it back. Like if you're a huge Dragon Ball Legends YouTuber, then of course, your ad revenue is going to exceed the amount of money that you put into the game, overall in the long game. But if you don't make the mistake that I did, I urge you not to do that. But so anyway, I started to go free to play, right? I was like, you know what? This is predatory. I'm not spending any more money, at least not until they fix these banners and make it to where like I could drop like 10 or 15 bucks and get the new unit. That seemed pretty fair to me. You know what I mean? I was like, people spend like monthly fees on MMOs all the time, Hell, for a while, I spent like 30 bucks a month on World of Warcraft or however much a while. I think it's only like 15 bucks. But anyway, still, I spent money on a World of Warcraft subscription. I mean, I pay for PlayStation Plus, the Nintendo Plus or whatever online stuff. I mean, hell, I pay like 20 bucks a month for Netflix that I watch a few times a year. So I was like, you know what? Who am I to really deny myself of buying some characters? But like I said, it just got to the point where I was spending like $100 a month and not even getting what I wanted. So I was like, this is just financially not responsible for me. I mean, I have a 9-to-5 job that I work and I make decent money from that outside of YouTube. It's not my sole source of income. But, like my wife is going back to school, like, and so, she's not working as much. Like I can't be spending like $100 a month on a freaking mobile game that I'm not even like getting what I'm going for out of. And so I was like, I'm going free to play and I won't do it anymore. And then of course I was like, I'm just going to do what free to play players do. And I'm going to invest in one team. I'm just going to stick to my one team and I'm going to play the game and I'm going to get chrono crystals and I'm going to make that one team really good. Instead of focusing on pulling all these new units and trying to have all the newest, most up-to-date teams, I'm just going to make my one team really good, And I tried that for a little while. I played like a Super Saiyan team because I had built up quite a few good Super Saiyan units and everything, and I thought that was fun, Also like a Fusion Warrior team and everything. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Not that bad. But then a couple of things happened. So first of all, I got really bored. Because what is it that makes these games hype and keeps them alive? It's the new units. And so, like, when a new unit came, I was just basically like, well, I'm not going to pull on that. I've only got 4,000 crystals, and I need to use that on a Zenkai for the team that I'm running, And so I was just not interested in the new units that came out. And so that led to some boredom. And plus, every time I played PvP, I was using the same 3 units over and over and over and over and over. And then also, of course, every team has its limelight in Dragon Ball Legends. For those of you who, aren't that familiar with the PvP meta, like sometimes, or I say sometimes, pretty much all the time, Sun Family and Hybrids are a team that is really popular in the meta. Running Fusion is never bad, but like you really can't just stick to one team because they will eventually make that team relatively underpowered compared to what is more meta. There's usually a few teams that are like considered the best teams. Now, granted, like you can use an underpowered team like LOE, and if you have it all 14-star Zenkai 7'd, you're going to do better against other teams that like technically are more meta, so that's the concept of sticking to one team. But like I said, the game got incredibly boring because I could not really be excited about new units. And when I did play, I was playing the same characters over and over. And then another thing happened, and this was more of a long-term effect of that, was that all these like then new Zenkais that came out or new updates to teams I wasn't even really excited about because I hadn't pulled new characters at any point. And you have to remember, for people that say only summon on Zenkai banners, you have to remember those units were new units at one point. Every unit that that is getting a Zenkai and will ever get a Zenkai again was a new unit. So if you've not been pulling on new unit banners, then you can't just spend your crystals on Zenkais, you know? And I know that it's all a balancing act of like trying to figure out how to allocate it, but the crystals that you got just seemed way too few and far between for any of this to actually work at all without spending any money. I feel like you can't really play Dragon Ball Legends free to play unless you've been playing the game since like day one. And therefore you've been around a long time. You've gotten a lot of crystals. You've summoned a lot. You have a lot of characters and a lot of them, you know, at high stars. I feel like you cannot play this game free to play. At least not if you're going to play online and play PvP and keep up. Because it was just a thing of like, you know, I'd spent a lot of money on the game, but yet I was still so far behind everybody, it seemed like. And I still could not get a good team to actually like work well. And to actually be up to par with what was in PvP. And that kind of brings me into the next segue of like what happened. So like I said earlier in the podcast, for me to be motivated to summon on a team or on a banner or in any kind of gacha, there has to be PvP. And so the only thing that was keeping me playing the game was PvP. I had a lot of fun with it. The matches are pretty quick. You can get a match pretty quick most of the time. So it was very instant gratification. Just pull up my phone, play some matches. I was having fun. Even if I lost, I don't know, like kind of the rush of losing or the rush of a close match was even pretty fun. But it's gotten to a point to where every single match for me is one of three things. Every single match is either completely lag ridden, and I know it's not me. Like I've got great internet and I'm near my router when I play, you know, and it's not every single match. If it were every single match, then I would say, all right, maybe something is wrong with me or my phone or whatever. If it wasn't lag, then it would be just whaled out teams, you know, like Zenkai 7, 14-star Sun Family. And I just can't compete with that. I know there's going to be some guy in the comments who's like, oh, I'm good enough. I'm free to play and I beat all these whales. And you know what? Good for you, but I'm not that sweaty. All right. You know, I do not have the time nor the energy to play that competitively on the game. And then the kind of one thing that was a little bit of a nail in the coffin was the modders. And I know that has kind of been nipped in the bud for the most part recently, but like hackers, people, you know, equipment modders giving themselves essentially infinite health. I was just kind of like, look, I could not get a match in where it was not at least one of those three things. And also bots, forgot to mention bots, which, you know, when you play against those, you can tell it's a bot. You don't really feel like you're playing against an actual person. Their strategies and teams make no sense. I mean, a lot of times it's an easy dub, which is nice, but it's not fun, you know? So anyway, really one of those four things. And so I just didn't see it getting much better because they're never going to fix the lag. You know, I've thought about it. At some point, they could add something kind of like in Dragon Ball FighterZ where you can set your matchmaking preferences to only fix you up with people that are that have a certain ping requirement, you know, that have like a strong connection, which wouldn't work because phones over Wi-Fi or especially over cell data, the ping is going to fluctuate. So, you know, somebody may be able to connect because they have a decent enough ping at that point, but then they move a little bit and it's gone. And also that, but with it being a mobile game, they need to make the instant gratification very high. You know, they don't want you to have to wait long for a match because like it's one thing in a console game, you know, you're playing your PlayStation and you're like queuing, or even on your PC, you're queuing up for a match and you're waiting, and like you expect it. You can't do much else. If you hop on your PlayStation, get onto Warzone, and it takes you 5 whole minutes to get a match, you'll probably be all right with that. And it's cool because you may play on your phone or, you know, browse the internet on your laptop while you're waiting for a match. It's cool. And, you know, same with PC gaming. You might like alt tab out of the game, or if you have a second monitor, you might browse Twitter or something while you're matchmaking, and it's okay. But on a phone, it's harder to do that. You know, like on a phone, I'm not going to just stare at my phone screen for 5 minutes. I'm going to close out of the game and not come back to it. And, you know, less often is there another form of media for me to consume while I'm waiting. It's much more likely for me to be playing my PlayStation and queuing up in Warzone, and I have my phone nearby and I can play on my phone for a couple minutes than it would be for me to be in front of my PlayStation while I'm, you know, playing Dragon Ball Legends on my phone. So you see what I'm saying? So they're never going to make the matchmaking intentionally take longer. because they know that that's going to result in people not playing the game at all. It may make the matches that you get better, but less people will play the game. And I know that there's some people, probably myself included, that would, in theory, be willing to wait longer. But so many people are not going to be willing to wait longer, realistically. And you may be at first, but you're going to get very bored. You're going to be less inclined to open the game up. Because right now, you know, the appeal of mobile games is when you're like, all right, you know, I got 15 minutes in between classes, or I got a 30-minute break at work. Let me hop on and play a couple matches real quick, you know, just have some fun. And when that's gone and it instead turns into a thing of I may have to wait 5 or 10 minutes just to get a match, then you're not going to do it. It's going to keep you from launching the game entirely. And like I said, there are going to be some people who would prefer that, but not enough. It would definitely cause an almost immediate decline in the player base. And so they're never going to do it. They're never going to fix lag. The modders, that can happen at any point. I mean, they could make like a, you know, add an anti-cheat into it or something like that. I don't see why not, really. I don't think the game has a big like modding community much anyway. I know that it exists, but I mean, they could do that. I don't really know the logistics of that. And then as far as the whaled out teams, obviously that's never going to end because, you know, they got to give you a reason to be a whale. They're trying to make money. And, you know, the gap of a whaled out team is just so high, man. You know, like going against a Zenkai 7 Sun Family team is just really rough, especially if you're a newer player. You don't have all the advanced PvP techniques down. It's very discouraging. And so how has it been since I took some time off? In the past like month, I've launched the game, I think twice, and both times I streamed it just to kind of, you know, see how it was. And man, I gotta say, guys, I feel a lot happier. And I don't mean to be dramatic, but like, you know, not having this grind of like doing my dailies while I'm taking a dump in the morning has been amazing. You know, just being able to go in and like play other video games, not having Legends consume my life as much. Because with this game, I feel like unless you're going to whale out, you have to dedicate most of your time to it in order to be semi-successful. And I just can't do that. I'm an adult. I have a 9-to-5 job. I make YouTube videos. I, you know, do this podcast. I have a wife. I have a social life, believe it or not. I know it's weird. Dragon Ball fan with friends. I know, weird. But you know, I have had more time to do those types of things, play games that I enjoy, other games that have been on my back burner for a while. I've been able to stream more, even though I haven't been streaming Legends. I've been streaming other games, and I've been streaming more frequently. I've been playing other games. I've been watching TV. Man, I started watching Shameless. Oh my God, I love that show. I know I'm late to the game on that, but I started watching that, you know, and I started watching movies. Like I watched Train to Busan with my wife. That was really great. Which, you know, there are a couple other factors about like all that. You know, I just feel like I've had way more free time and I've been more happy as a person not having to play Legends. You know, I don't plan on uninstalling it just because, I mean, I may hop in every now and then and play it and see what's up, you know, check out some new free-to-play content. But I don't anticipate on playing Legends at all anymore like how I used to, you know, where I was a daily player, keeping up with all the news, all the new units. I just want to play Legends incredibly casually like any other mobile game. And like, you know, and I just don't see myself coming back to it in the way that I was before. I've not quit Legends. Like I said, I'm not uninstalling it. I'll still play it every now and then, might even stream it. In fact, most of the time that I do play it, I will probably stream it just to, you know, get all of my time worth out of that. But I don't know, man. I have low hopes for the game. I was tired of my content revolving around it. I don't have fun with the PvP, and so I didn't feel motivated to play. But I don't hate the game. I don't hate anybody who does play it. If you guys still play it, that's awesome. Good for you. I'm glad you have a game that you enjoy. But I really, you know, not that anybody asked at all. Well, actually, a couple of people did, I guess. But, you know, I wanted to make a video to kind of talk about my thoughts on it, on Legends, where I'm at with it, and just be, like, really, really open and transparent. I've talked about this off and on some of my streams. But I guess I'm the type of guy I like to hear my own voice, right? You know, as any YouTuber does to some extent. So I wanted to get this out and let you guys know kind of how I was feeling about the game and in in-depth information, you know. But anyway, that's going to be just about it, I believe, for this stream. So if you guys enjoyed, please be sure to support. If you're on YouTube, maybe give us a like and subscribe. Go check out my main YouTube channel at youtube.com/StormPow for more content directly from me. Be sure to check us out on social media. Links for everything are in the description if the platform that you're enjoying this on supports descriptions. And also, be sure to go check out trycereal.com/StormPow to build yourself a fancy schmancy website. But anyway, guys, thank you all for listening. Hope you have a nice day, and goodbye.